Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Let's kickstart the class. So, yesterday we discussed how exactly binary files can be created, how you can utilize them in designing your user interface, so on and so forth, and how exactly you can, create a link and stuff like that. Perfect. So, I'm assuming that was understood well, and today we'll go one step further from what we have done. And today's class is gonna be slightly critical. The topic we are going to tweak today is called as rule resolution. Very important topic. Why? Because this is kind of a concrete base based on which every rule is resolved. So we will have to understand it really well. So let's try to give it a good shot. One of the interesting topics within Pega, not something which you can not visible to the eyes, but the magic happens at the back end. That is why it's kind of challenging to explain as well as grasp. So I would like you put in slightly more effort in understanding this. Perfect. So rule resolution. So let us come and try to think in a perspective. For example, imagine yourself as you are this Pega product. Okay, imagine that you are a Pega product, and whenever we are trying to understand this particular concept, this is what I say to the students, and they find it easy to understand. So think that you yourself are that product who is getting these rules created within itself, and then it is running this system, let us say. Perfect. All these days what we have done is we have created rules. Do we agree? We have really created rules for most of the categories, activities, sections, all these rules we created. But whenever we go and execute a flow, when we execute a flow, what Pega is doing, Pega is picking the rule which we have created and showing it for us on UI. Yes or no? Is it showing? It's utilizing it, right? Few rules it is showing. For example, section rule, it is showing why it is visible on the UI. Same way, activity rule at the back end, it is utilizing it, it is calling it or accessing it. Yes or no? Do we agree? But how does Pega know which rule has to be called? How does it know? That is the question. Rule resolution is all about how Pega picks a given rule to be right to execute in a given context. Does it make sense? For example, if you remember when we did circumstancing, based on the property, it was circumstancing and it was picking the right rule. Yes or no? It was picking the right rule. It's picking the whatever value it was circumstance on the day on the property. For example, if you are saying CV, commercial vehicle, then it was picking the commercial vehicle thing and then it was showing. So to pick a rule, Pega has a criteria based on which it picks a rule. What is that criteria? There is a rules criteria which they have defined. When whoever has designed this particular product, set of developers who got together and whoever has designed it, they have told there is a criteria. So there are the rules criteria are something like, for example, the first criteria is circumstance. We know what is circumstance. We have already covered that. Yes or no? Second one is class and rule set hierarchy. What this means is where exactly your rule is. For example, if the rule is in 010102 and if the same rule is also in 010101, what would be the right rule to be accessed? Of course 010102. Why? Because 010102 has the latest changes. Yes or no? Yesterday we did that. When we added the image, we added it to the latest rule set. The section was in latest rule set. Let us see that. I'll show you so that makes it clear for you guys. While this is loading, we'll see the other categories. Okay, one is class and rule set hierarchy. The next thing is rules authorization, rule authorization process. I mean, in the sense, if is the given user authorized to use this rule, is something which Pega looks for. As I said, we have to look at today's class more in terms of how Pega is trying to pick a given rule to execute. That's what we are trying to check. Authorization, and there is something called as rule cache. Rule cache. What is this? We'll see that in detail. Don't worry. Rule availability as well. Okay. Circumstance, we know we have already worked on that, right? Whenever you circumstance a property based on a property or a template and definition, you can circumstance a rule, and then that is the corresponding rule which will get picked up. What is rule set hierarchy? For example, in our current example, if you see, mm, customer details section. This is 01001. Let me look for. Okay. So when I go to actions, I should be able to see view versions. How many versions of this particular section are available? See, one version is available in a lower rule set, which is 010101, and the latest one is available in 010102. Yes or no? And Pega is making sure it is picking the latest one, right? Do we agree, guys? Pega is making sure it is picking the latest one. Why? Because it is available in the latest version and it has the latest updates to it. That is why it is picking that. Perfect. When they say rule set hierarchy, this is what they mean. Whatever is the latest version. How can we know what is the rule set hierarchy? I'll show you. One, for example, this particular section, the hierarchy is two rule set versions, 010102 and 010101. So it will see which is the latest and greatest version under which this given rule is available. So it sees that it is available in 010102. It picks from here. This is what they mean when they say rule set hierarchy. What is class hierarchy? Class hierarchy is nothing but the inheritance path it is going to choose. If you see our uh, early classes, you will know that, for example, mm, let us say, where's my section? This customer details section. Let me right click, or let me right click on this work class and look for inheritance path. Do I have? Yeah, see, there is something called as inheritance. If I right click on my work class, it should show me what is the inheritance path. What do you mean by inheritance? If you visit our classes, the session which we did on classes, you will know that uh, Pega follows pattern and direct inheritance. What does that mean? For example, this rule can also be created under alpha alpha class, just the alpha class. So how exactly will Pega look for a given rule in a class? For example, if the rule is available under work class, it will look here. If it is not available, it will go to the next inheritance path. In the inheritance, it is showing the next place where the rule will be looked for is like alpha hyphen alpha auto in pattern. The same way it will go till alpha, and then from there, if it is not found, it will go one step further, which is work dash cover dash. And if it doesn't find there, it will go to work dash. And if it didn't find there, it will go to at the red base class, which is the ultimate base class for any class. So this is the rule. The rule set hierarchy is number of version of rules which are available for a given rule, and class hierarchy is this, where the inheritance path will be traveled till the right version of the rule is found. We'll understand that, don't worry. So these are few pointers which are there. That's why I'm like, letting you know how exactly we'll be traversing through that. And the next point, if you see, should be authorization. Rule authorization. What is rule authorization? For example, let us say you have a television in your home. Who all can access the television? Only your family members, yes or no? Right? Can I call them a group? For example, in Pega, there is a concept called access group. If you see this particular user, uh, see, if I open this operator belongs to a group, in the sense he belongs to a family. Yes or no? All access group is nothing but is a family, is a group to which users belong. Same way, SI admin also is a part of that family. Sorry. What was the new operator we created? Technical, no, organization, operator ID, dev at alpha, right? If you see, dev at alpha also is part of that group. Access group is nothing but a group to which users belong, and you can provide permissions based on that group. It's kind of an interface between the operator and his application. How will a user get access to application? Through his access group. Why? If you see, if you open this particular access group, if you see, this is tied to that application. You can see that. Is it tied to that application, Alpha Auto? Yes, no, right? So access group is nothing but it's an interface between operator and his application. All the access a user can get is through the access group. He'll be part of that access group, only then he will be able to access that application and different stuff which he can do as part of that application. That is access group or rule authorization process. What is rule cache? For example, every time a rule gets executed, when you start a flow and you execute it, it's exactly similar to our declare pages. If you remember, when we executed declare pages at the node level, it was getting saved at the in the clipboard, and next time whenever the user wanted to create anything, he was able to access very easily. Why? It was already available at the node. Yes or no? Did we see that when we did the data pages or declare pages? Node, thread, requester. In the same way, once you run a given flow, most of the rules get cached in the rule cache. What is cache is that it's nothing but like a temporary memory where once you execute, the rules get saved temporarily. So that if you try to execute again, it doesn't have to go to the database and hit. It will automatically pick it from the cache and it will execute. So there's a rule cache which gets built up whenever you try to execute a flow. So this rule cache refers to that. So as I said, think in terms of Pega. As Pega, when it has to pick a rule to show or execute on this as part of a flow, it does this thing. It checks the rule has been circumstance first. If it has not been circumstance, if it doesn't find there, right? So it will go to the class hierarchy and the rule set hierarchy. It will see if it is available in the highest rule set version and which class is it present in. It'll shortlist one rule, and then it will see does the user have access to it, and after that it will see is it available in cache, and if it's available in cache, then it will check for the availability. What is availability? Pega has different availabilities for rules. So if you see, it kind of looks like a huge chunk of complex information, but we will be breaking it down. Don't worry if it is too overwhelming. That's how it has to be. If it's not overwhelming, something is wrong. Of course it is slightly challenging, but you'll be able to understand. Don't worry about that. So whenever we try to create a rule, if you would have seen every rule has something like this available next to it. Yes or no? See, detail section. See, there are around 5 availabilities for in Pega for rules. What are those? See, if I click on this, I can see that available, not available, blocked, final, and withdrawn. These are the different availabilities for the rules. I'll tell you when we will be using each of this. Right now, whatever we have created by default, everything is available. When you create, they are available. All the user defined rules by default when you create are available. There are 5 types of availabilities, by the way. 5 types. One is available. Very important question in interviews also. What are the different availabilities for a rule? Not available, withdrawn, final, and blocked. So these are the 5 different availabilities for a rule within Pega, which we saw also on the user interface when you clicked on. So what does available mean? Available means, if a rule is marked as available, it will display, of course, the latest version from the current class. For example, the customer details section. It is marked as available. It is going to execute when Pega is executing this flow, and it comes to that flow action and it gets that section. From that flow action, it will look for, is the rule available? If it is if this rule is available, and if it is part of the highest rule set version. That's what it checks. When you say available, this is what it means. What is final? Few rules are final also. If you see few of the, I think at the red base class, no. There are few rules which are final, which usually is used by Pegas out of the box rules. Few rules are there which are final, which you can't modify. Final means you can't modify them, and this has to be the highest rule in the rule set version for final. You also have not available. What does not available mean? Not available means, for example, we have here 2 sections, 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 and 0 1. Perfect. So when I mark a rule not available, for example, I marked this rule not available. Let us see this. Let me add one dynamic layout here. It is locked. That is why. On the operator ID, I don't think I have that thing enabled. That is why I'm not getting allow rule checkout. Perfect. Done. Why am I not able to check this out? Reasons. Private edit. Locked. I think this is being modified by other user. That is why we are getting that. That's okay. Let me access some other section. If that is locked, that's fine. Let me look at some other section and user interface app. So we are trying to understand what is not available here. Okay. So let us say policy section. Let me save as this into the latest version. Create and open. I am creating it under 010102. So I just saved as the policy section 02. All I will do is I will add another thing here, and then I'll say maybe I'll just add a label. Do I have a label? Sorry. Structural text area RT. Nah. What do I want to do? I want to put a label there. Okay, I do have a label here. Okay, and then in this configuration, I will tell section from latest version, which is 01002. Make sense? So now when I create a flow, I should be able to see the policy details with this particular message. Let us verify that. We are on the App Explorer. Let's go to flow, customer flow, and then actions. Run. Perfect. So I want to see the policy details. Let us see. See, am I getting the latest section here from 01002? Yes, no, perfect. So what I will do is I'll mark this as not available. Let us see. For now, I want it as not available. Let us save this. Okay, and now let me refresh this section. I'm refreshing the work object and hit a go. You should be able to see the still available. No, it has to be marked not available. Okay, didn't get set. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, perfect. So let me save this. Now let me refresh this. Some refresh issue, I guess. That's okay. Let me refresh this and you'll be able to see. Do we still see that section? Well, you can confirm also. You can use live UI, and when you hover over this, you can understand that which section is being called. Just go to this. It is the policy section. Yes. Click on this and it should open you the section which is being called. And it should take you to 01010 to, yeah, which is bringing here. Why? Because that is in my private checkout. All I can do is to avoid the confusion, I can check in this. So your doubt will be clear. Check in. Now I've checked in the code. The 01002 version, I have marked it as not available. Now when you see, already it is not showing that. In the sense, it is not showing the changed version, whatever we have marked as not available, that is not appearing here. We can refresh this again and check. We'll understand all the availabilities through this particular change. Go, and now see, this should be taking you to the section which you have created in 010101. See, policy section. Yeah, this is in policy section. Let me open this policy section, and this should be opening you. Is it opening the section from 010101? Yes, no. Though we have a policy section which is available in 010102, it is not being called. Why? Because we marked it as not available. What happens? Pega doesn't pick any rule which is marked as not available. What it will do? It will go to the next highest version. What is the next highest version after 010102? What is the next highest version after 010102 within the application? 01. That is why it went and it picked that particular section. Now this is happening when we marked the highest version as not available. Pega, what it does, it goes and looks for the next highest version which is available in 010101. So it picked it. Does it make sense, guys? Available, we understood. If it is available, it will pick the highest version. Not available, we understood. What it does, it skips that thing and looks for next highest version and it picks that. Perfect. Now let us see what happens when we mark this as blocked. Let me open the section. Where is the policy section? Here. See, it was not available. Let me mark, check out this. Okay. And let me mark this guy blocked. Okay. Check in. Perfect. Now let us try to refresh this screen and see what happens. Refresh. Go. Are we able to see policy section details? Once you mark a section, any rule as blocked, you know, it is preventing for the usage anywhere it is present. If you mark 010102 rule as blocked, even the 00010101 rule also is not applicable anymore. Why? Pega doesn't consider it at all. Everywhere the rule will be blocked. You can't use it again. Understood, guys? Not available and blocked. Very important. They will ask you, what do you mean when you are saying the rule is not available? What we mean when I am saying the rule is not available, in the sense, whichever rule where during the process of execution, Pega looks for the highest rule in the rule set which is available. If it is not available and if it is marked as not available, it will skip that rule and it will look for the next highest version where this rule is available, and then it is going to pick and execute. We saw that. Yes or no? Right? What do you mean when the rule is blocked? When you are marking a rule as blocked, Pega doesn't pick that rule at all. Forever, it doesn't pick that rule. Once you mark a rule as blocked, wherever it might be present, you might have 10 other versions below the highest version. It won't be picked. Why? It is marked as blocked. Perfect. These two are understood. Now, let us say we have we mark this as withdrawn. Okay. Where is the policy section? Oh, let's do one more change here. So the 02020102 section, all I want to do is, let me close it. I don't want the flow. I don't want the customer detail section. This ID. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So we can do one more thing. In the class hierarchy also I can save this rule. For example, I can save as this blocked rule. Okay. Instead of work class, I'll save it one step below, alpha hyphen alpha auto. Create and open. This is my class hierarchy, right? Yes or no? I think it refers to the properties which are does not exist, which makes sense. Mhm. Okay, what we will do, we'll save the same section. Hold on, we'll delete this below one from alpha auto because these properties are part of uh, the latest version. Apple, delete it. So all I'm trying to do is I won't be able to save this guy, so I will come on open this guy. So we need to be able to differentiate. So I'll add some custom messages so we know that this particular section is getting called. I'll delete this role as well. I don't want this role for now, but I'll create a new section. Not required. Okay, perfect. However, what I will do is I'll create a new section in alpha auto with the same name, but I'll have a custom message there. Policy section. This is the name I want to create in alpha auto in latest rule set version. Okay, policy section. Same name. Pega only looks for the name. If the rule name is same, it is part of that rule resolution process. Remember that. Okay, and here I'll just add a display message telling from class hierarchy. Yes or no? We are saving it in the class hierarchy with the same name. We are saving it in the class hierarchy. Do we agree, guys? Like how rule set version 2, 1 are hierarchy. Alpha is the first level organization. Alpha auto is your division level, and then that way hyphen work is your class group level. Yes or no? Right? Perfect. So if you're finding it a little tricky, don't worry about that. When we try to solve this problem, we will understand. So right now we have understood two. One is blocked, one is available. Let us see if the blocked uh, picks up anything which is in hierarchy. Let's refresh and check. Go. Nope, that is not getting picked. When you have parked it blocked, irrespective the name is same or it is part of the hierarchy, whatever it is, it's not going to be picked. That's what we have understood. Now let us mark this base section which we had marked as blocked as withdrawn. Okay. So with policy name policy section, there are two rules now in 010 and 02. One is this one and another is this one which we created. Yes or no? Do we agree? See, both are in 010 and 02. But this is part of alpha hyphen alpha auto. That is part of alpha hyphen alpha auto hyphen work. Agreed? Perfect. Now let us mark this guy as withdrawn and check. Perfect. Updated. Now this is withdrawn. Let us see what happens here. Make sense? Whenever you mark a rule as withdrawn, then all the versions in the current class will be ignored. Yes or no? In the current class, what is the current class of this section which we have marked as withdrawn? Current class is alpha, alpha auto, alpha hyphen work. In the same class, we have two policy sections. Yes or no? This one and this one. Able to understand, guys? In the current class, alpha hyphen alpha auto hyphen work, policy section is present twice. One is in 010101, one is in 010102. Do we agree? Both are in work class. When you mark a rule withdrawn, in the same class, you might have this guy present multiple times, but it won't be picked. What will be picked is anything if it is present in a rule set hierarchy. For example, this particular section, same name and present in rule set hierarchy and available, this will be picked even though it is marked as withdrawn for this particular class, which is part of hyphen work. Does it make sense, guys? Yes, no. Are we able to understand availability statuses of this particular? Perfect. Yeah, good. So final is nothing but where you can't copy from a rule set version to other rule set version. You can't update it. Final always we have to set it at the highest version only. On the highest version, you won't be using final often, but that's what it is. Mostly you will be utilizing these availabilities. One is available, highest rule set version and highest class, it will be picking that. Blocked, nowhere it will be picking, irrespective of hierarchy or row or row set versions, wherever it is, it won't be picked. Whenever, as soon as it's marked as blocked, that's it, gone. Won't be picked any time. Withdrawn, it won't pick in the current class, but if it is there in the hierarchy anywhere, it will be picking. We saw that here. Yes or no? See? Okay. Very important. You'll have one question when they ask you, they'll be definitely asking you how does availability work. So this is how we have understood availability. Were we able to understand what is availability, guys? Yes, no? Very good. Very important. Very important. We tend to forget this thing. It is very easy to forget this thing. So few things we were able to cover today, right? Which is circumstance is something which you already know. Class hierarchy, we saw that. Right now we saw class hierarchy, how it works. And rule set hierarchy also we saw. And rule cache is something which gets created when the first time the rule is executed, the rule cache gets built. It's exactly similar to your node level database like that. Pega internally builds a rule cache. Okay. Authorization is nothing but access a group to which a user belongs who will have access to execute a given application. Rule availability, we saw these all 5 available rules. So this is a very good base. This is a baseline to understand rule resolution. Now let's try to understand what is rule resolution in Pega. All these above concepts are necessary to understand the algorithm behind rule resolution. The rule resolution algorithm is quite simple, but you need to know these things to understand it. Rule resolution algorithm. I think I can have to use something nice to define that. What will we do? Let us see. We can do it on MS Paint. I'll try to explain to the best of my understanding. Let us see how well you can grasp it. So this is how. Assume that you are Pega, okay, and you are going to decide which rule has to be executed. Let us say a user came in, executed a flow, and is looking for this customer section. Okay, he ran this particular flow, and he is running. Let us say the customer detail section or policy section got picked up. Okay, from the flow. Let us say this is the user is executing one workflow. Okay, and then mm, what do we have here too? I'm really bad with this thing, so please line. Okay, let me design. Let us say this is a start point, and this is the horizontal line for execution. Okay, let's say this is the this is the path of execution. Let us say. Okay, and we'll go through step by step what exactly happens when the user tries to, you know, the session might extend. If it happens, I'll send you a new link on the chat, so don't worry about that. Someone just joined. Who joined? Sharath. Okay, perfect. Okay, we were here. So what happens whenever you execute a flow, this is what happens every time. Pega does this thing every time you try to execute a flow. For example, let us say it has to pick the policy section. To pick the policy section, what Pega does first is it looks in the first step is check in rule cache. It checks the rule cache. In the sense, is it available in the cache? Cache is nothing but a temporary memory where Pega maintains the rules. If they have already been executed, for example, if it was executed like a couple of minutes before, it will try to cache it and keep it there. And it will check whenever you try to execute a flow, it will check if the cache has that rule. Does it make sense? Check if cache has the rule is what it does. If present, it displays it, or we can say uh, if present, jump to later step. I'll tell you what is the later step. So this is a case when Pega already found a rule. In case it didn't find the rule, what it does, it again so in the first step it didn't find the rule. So what it does is in the second step it goes and chooses the instances. For example, for policy, it goes in the application and looks for policy section. How many policy sections are there? So we had two policy sections, right? Three policy sections to be frank. One in 010102 under work class, one in alpha-alpha auto class in 010102, another one in 010101 in the work class. Yes or no? What it does, it chooses matching instances. These three are matching instances. The rule by name. What is the rule name here? Policy section. Yes or no? Are you able to understand, guys? Policy section. I'm just showing you how policy section gets picked. So if it's not present in cache, what it does, This is step 1. This is step 2. If it's not found, it comes to step 2 where it collects all the instances with the same name. So it found three instances: policy section, policy section, policy section. Three instances, one in 0 and 0 and 0 2, one in 0 and another also in 0 and 0 and 0 2, but in a class hierarchy which is a pattern inheritance in a above class, which is alpha hyphen alpha auto, and the another section which is present in 0 1 0 1 0 1. So three instances. So it collected this in second step. It collects all these instances. What does it do in third step? Like we discussed, step 3. Here what it does, discards. This is my step 3. Discard rules which are not available. What does it do? If it is not available, it doesn't pick that. Yes or no? Discard the rules which are not available. What is the fourth step? The fourth step is discard rules which are not part of rule set hierarchy. For example, mm, discard rules which are not part of rule set hierarchy. What is rule set hierarchy? Of course, the rule set versions 1, 2, 3, that is rule set hierarchy, as well as another way, another deeper understanding of rule set hierarchy is, for example, when you try to open a user, for example, let us try to open admin at alpha, it's already open. If you go to profile, you will see, sorry, let us say I'll open this access group and I'll open this application. Here you should be able to see the hierarchy. Are we able to see the rule set hierarchy here? First, it will look for if the rule is available in 0 1 0 1 0 2, or else it will go and check in 0 1 0 1 0 1. If it didn't find there, it will go to alpha auto int. It will see if the rule is available here. If it is not there, it will go to alpha. If it is not there, it will go to alpha int. This is the rule set hierarchy for your application. Yes or no? If you want to verify, we can do that. I can create a rule, save it in alpha 0 1 0 1, alpha colon 0 1 0 1, and then we can check if that gets picked. We can mark all these withdrawn, and then we can put a rule inside this, and that will be getting picked. Why? Because it's part of rule set hierarchy. What do they mean when they say if it is not part of rule set hierarchy? For example, if there is any other rule set, let us say if you open the rule sets records, system admin, if the session gets expired, I'll be sending the new link, so keep a watch. If you see, if you open the rule sets, there are many other rule sets. Let us say if I have a new rule set which is called as beta. Okay. Do you think if I create a policy section under this particular rule set, it will be picked up? If I create a policy section under this particular rule set, will this be picked up? No. Why? Because it is not part of rule set hierarchy. See, the application rule sets you have specified are these. If I want that to be picked up, I have to add that here, which is not there. When I say discard rules which are not part of rule set hierarchy, that also is included. Does it make sense, guys? Don't worry about it. No one is going to ask you like in this brief, but I'm explaining you so that you know what exactly happens. Perfect. So the next piece is stage 5, which is discard rules which are not part of class hierarchy. What do we mean by that? For example, I showed you how the inheritance path can be identified for a given class. Discard rules which are not part of class hierarchy is the next step. What does that mean? For example, if I go to my application back, and then if you see the inheritance path for my work class is this. See, if you open the inheritance, you will know. Alpha, alpha auto, alpha work, like this. If I save it in alpha hyphen int, then it is not part of this thing. Policy section might be available in alpha hyphen int, but it is not a part of this thing. What I mean by that is, for example, if I remove this guy, you will see under alpha dash there are many class. Alpha hyphen data. See, there is data, there is FW and all, but my class hierarchy is alpha auto hyphen work. Yes or no? Alpha auto hyphen work. Whatever is part of this hierarchy, do you see int, data, and UI pages classes as part of the hierarchy? See the inheritance. Are they part of that inheritance? Do you see int or data dash anywhere? If you save that particular policy section in data, it won't be picked up. Why? Because it is not part of class hierarchy. Hierarchy is nothing but going up from your current class. For example, this is your base class, or this is the class where you are created the first section. And if the class is created in this section, it is getting picked up. When it is withdrawn, it is going to the class hierarchy and it is picking. Yes or no? We saw that, right, guys? But alpha auto hyphen data is not part of this hierarchy, of this class hierarchy, work class hierarchy. Is it? That's what we mean when we say here. That's what Pega is telling. Pega is telling, oh, if it is part of data, I'm not going to pick. Why? Because it doesn't fall in the class hierarchy. That is my step 5. Every rule before execution goes through these many validations. Before getting picked up, it is going through these many validations. Does it make sense, guys? You may want to revisit this class as many number of times till you understand. No worries. If you have questions, come back. We'll sit down again. We'll brainstorm and understand. Not many people know this, but it is good to know this. If you know this, you know the product from heart. It's like that. After this step, what Pega does it does the ranking of the rule in the sense based on different categories. Let us write it down. 6. So what does it do? Pega does the ranking. What is the ranking based on? It ranks based on what all are the ranks? Ranks in Pega are ranks rule by class, in the sense highest class where the rule is available. Next, highest rule set the rule is available. Next is the rule circumstanced. Circumstance by property. Then is it circumstance by date or date date or time range, I guess. Date time range. Then the version. What rule set version does it belong to? Pega shortlist, for example, it has three items, let us say policy section. Three policy sections are available. It keeps sorting it and comes to this level, step 6, where it has those three sections, and of that it has shortlisted whatever rule ranks by class. For example, when it was withdrawn, it shortlisted the is the session still active? Perfect. We have 2 minutes and we'll join back in once it gets expired. So it has ranked the three sections, the policy sections. So far, it has ranked into best by class by rule set if it has circumstance. So circumstance is not valid here because we are not circumstance here. It has ranked till here. So we do have few more steps left in this thing. I think we'll drop off and join again on the new bridge. So this is the journey of every rule we have created. Every rule, when we tag it to our flow, it has to go through this journey to get shortlisted or to be the one being displayed or executed for a given context. For example, when we ran the customer flow, every rule we have created could be decision tree, data table, data type, page, everything had to go through this particular journey to get picked up. So right now we have accomplished 6 steps. There are a few more steps. Let's try to see what are those. Let me go to my next step. Whenever you see rule execution happening, this should hit your mind. Oh, every rule is going through this process to be shortlisted and get executed as part of my given flow. Is it making sense, guys? So when you try to analyze it like that, that's when it makes sense to you. So once this particular thing is done, what Pega does is it in the next step, it adds that rule to the cache. Add the rules that remain on the list to the cache, making it selectable for use. Making it selectable for use. So what is the next step? In next step, Pega does what Pega does is okay. These are the three rules which have been shortlisted, or one rule, or whatever amount of rules have come up. It takes them and puts it in the cache. Okay, this is the best rule to be used. Okay. So for example, let's say three rules got shortlisted. Policy, policy, policy. Three policy sections got shortlisted. Next, it decides if there are duplicates or if there are any issues with the rules. That is my step 8. Don't worry, there are no more steps. It's just like a 10-step process. That's how I could break it down and help you understand. 8. So now that it has the consolidated list, what it also checks for is it also checks if it finds the best instance and check for duplicates. For example, if three policy sections are there, which one is the best instance? For example, when it is withdrawn, the one in the lower class, in the class hierarchy, is the best instance. Yes or no? Find best instance and check for duplicates. For example, in the withdrawn, we saw that what do you mean by duplicates? For example, the same section policy section, this thing. Let us say if the other rule set version also was open, that alpha auto, and let us open the 01010 version. Let me open this guy. Let me unlock this just to help you understand what do they mean when they say if there are duplicates. So, and policy section. This is the policy section in alpha-alpha auto. Let me save as this. To 0 1 0 1 0 1. Is this a duplicate? Yes or no, guys? Same section, no change, just the version 0 1 0 1 0 1. And here it is 0 1 0 1 0 2. Content is same. Is this a duplicate, guys? Yes or no? It is a duplicate. So once it consolidated, it also has to check if there are duplicates. Find the best instance. The best instance when you have duplicates is the highest most version. So it has to filter those also. It can't show two rules, right? It can't display two policy sections on UI. Can it? No, it can't do. It can't show two policy section because here the reference is only for one section. And if it has to show it here, it has to make sure it is not showing the right instance to decide this is rule resolution. How Pega is going to resolve from so many instances. For example, policy section, so many instances are there, but it is resolving into one instance which has to be showed here. Yes or no? Is Pega doing it, guys? This is the rule resolution process. The rule resolution process is all about Pega deciding which is the best rule to be shown in the execution. After this step, Pega also checks one important thing which we already saw. Check if that rule is blocked. This step, Pega checks 9. Check if the availability is blocked. It is doing that. We saw that in action. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? We saw that when it is blocked, it's telling, hey, I'm not executing any of these rules because we found an instance which is blocked and now it stops us from execution. This is the last step. The 10th step, I think it checks for the security, I guess. Yes. 10. So every rule is going through this journey, really fantasizing. At the back end, this is what Pega is doing. This low code platform, this is what it is doing. So what it does in the last step, verifies. This is the security component. Verify that user is authorized to access the rule. If not, show a error message. How do we know if he should be part of that particular access group or certain privilege has to be provided? We already saw that. This is how Pega decides every rule you have specified here goes through this journey to get shortlisted to be displayed on the UI. When I show you the UI, this is, for example, when you run this flow, all these everything, this insurance type property, agency code, agency name, the section here, the status here, everything, the data transform which decides what has to appear here has to go through this journey. The flow action you have to specify has to go through this journey, but Pega does it so fast. This is how we can break down how every rule is picked up by Pega to display on UI or to execute on the UI when the flow is going through execution. Does it make sense, guys? First step, check for rule cache. If it is available in rule cache, jump to later step. The later step is step number 8. It jumps to step number 8. What is step number 8? Find the best instance and check for duplicates. It already found. It will check for duplicates. If duplicates are, it figures out what is the best instance, and then it checks for availability. If it is blocked, that's it. The execution is gone. It stops there. If not, it verifies if the user has proper access. Does he have access group to which he belongs? Does it have a value, like, provision to execute that rule? If not, throw a message is what it is saying. If yes, it executes that rule and shows the utilizes that section as part of rule resolution. That's what is happening here. It has identified, oh, there is the availability of this particular section is withdrawn in the highest rule set version. However, in the class hierarchy on the same rule set version, I am able to find a rule which is available and can be part of the best instances. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Check for rule cache, not in rule cache. Choose matching instances. Policy section, policy section, policy section. 3 policy sections it has found. Discard the rules which are not available. Whatever we have marked as not available, it won't execute. Right now we didn't have. We had something called withdrawn. So it will continue. Discard rules which are not part of rule set hierarchy. We saw that. Discard rules which are not part of class hierarchy. We also saw that. Rank rule by class. For example, if you have the highest class, for example, if we don't have withdrawn specified, from the class standpoint, the section under the work class was the best instance. Yes or no? And the next thing it will check is rule set. What is the rule set? 0 and 0 and 02 is the highest one. If you find something on 0 and 0 and 0 and 02, that is the best instance. And circumstance, have we circumstances? No. If we have circumstance, that would be the best version. We have seen that when we circumstance, that instance was getting picked. With CV, it picked the commercial vehicle section. With PV, it picked the personal vehicle section. See if it is based on time range. These are few attributes, right? And then next step is add the rules that remain. After you have done that, let's say 3 rules remain, policy section, 3 policy sections remain, then add it to the cache or making the selectable, making a list which is of which you will be picking one section. Take that to the next step where find the best instance and check for duplicates. We also created duplicate now. We saw that same policy section is available in two rule set versions. Eliminate the duplicates is what it's doing here. Check availability if it is blocked. If it is blocked, that's it. That rule will never be called. If that is also passed, not blocked, available is the availability, then go to the security part where identify if this particular user has access to execute this particular rule. How? Go to his access group. Verify that his access group has provision to execute this rule. If yes, that's it. Execute it and show it on UI. Every rule is going through this process. Are we able to understand, guys, how rule resolution works in Pega? Yeah. As part of learning, try to like revisit this as much as possible to understand how exactly rule resolution is working. Are they going to ask you how to explain this step by step? No. Should you be aware of this? Yes, of course, because you are using this product, you should be knowing how exactly rule resolution process happens within Pega. Very important topic, guys. That's it I had for today. So this is the takeaway from today's class. If you guys have any questions, I can take.